All right, we're going to go over how to do some calculations for a hydraulic system. And so if you look at our system here, we have the smaller cylinder on the left. That is the input cylinder of the system. The larger cylinder on the right will be the output. We know a few things about our system, and so I've defined those for you down here. We know that the force of the input is going to be 100 pounds. We do not know what the output force is. That's something that we'll be calculating. We know the area of the smaller cylinder, which is the input cylinder, is 12.57 inches squared. And we know the area of the larger output cylinder is 113.1 inches squared. We do not know the pressure of the system. That's something we'll be calculating. And we do not know the mechanical advantage of the system. All right, so let's go ahead and start. We will start first by calculating that pressure on the system. And so we know from our formulas that pressure is equal to force divided by area. In this case, we're going to use the input force divided by the input area because those are variables that we know. We'll go ahead and substitute. Our input force is 100 pounds. And our input area is 12.57 inches. So if you go ahead and calculate that out, 100 divided by 12.57, and we get about 7.96 pounds per square inch. And so a question I always get is, how come we're using the input force and the input area to calculate the pressure? That's just because we know those two variables. If we had the output force, we could do the same formula and get the same pressure for the system using the output force and the output area. The next thing that we're going to be calculating for is that output force. And so to do that, we'll use the same formula. We're going to use the pressure, which is equal to, in this case, the output force divided by the area of the output cylinder. All right, we know the pressure, so we'll substitute that in because we just calculated for it. The pressure is equal to 7.96 pounds per square inch. And so that is going to be equal to our force out, which is what we're calculating for, the variable that we're calculating, divided by our area out, which we know is 113.10 inches squared. And so if we do our algebra here to get force out by itself, we'll take 113.1 times 7.96, and we will get that the output force on the system is 900.28, we'll call it, pounds. And now, since we know that the output force, how much the output is going to be, we can calculate the mechanical advantage of the system. And so just like any other mechanical advantage, actual mechanical advantage calculation, mechanical advantage in this case is going to be equal to the force out divided by the force in. So we just calculated that output force. It is 900.28 pounds. The input force on our system was given, that's 100 pounds. And so we get about a mechanical advantage of about 9. Remember that mechanical advantage is a unitless number. It tells us that in this case, if we put 100 pounds of force on this system, we'll be able to lift 900 pounds, about 900 pounds. It also tells us, it's a ratio, so it tells us if we were to put 1 pound of force on the system, we would be able to lift about 9 pounds. And so that's what that mechanical advantage number tells us. So there's how you do some of the calculations for a hydraulic system.